Welcome, one and all, to The Late Show. I am your host, Stephen Colbert. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all. I hope 2020 is off to a great start for you. We're happy to be back.
Yes.
Really excited to be here. Now, there have recently been momentous, world-shaking events. And let's get right to the big story everybody's talking about. The 77th Annual Golden Globe Awards ceremony. Oh, it was a dazzling night of glitz and glamour, and God help us, we might be going to war with Iran. All the stars were there as we inch closer to yet another tragically ill-considered military conflict, including Salma Hayek, whose Gucci dress featured a neckline that didn't leave much to the imagination, unless you're imagining an endless quagmire in the Middle East. Because this is it, folks. This is what's been keeping you up at night for the last 3 years. It wasn't the baggy suits. It wasn't Covfefe. It was his ability to wage war with no understanding of the consequences. And no one could stop him. Also, congratulations to Awkwafina for snagging a Globe for Best Actress. Well deserved. Now, the reason that I'm a little on edge tonight is that on Thursday, in response to Iranian-sponsored military attacks on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, President Trump ordered a drone strike, killing the top Iranian commander in Baghdad, Qasem Soleimani, which brings us to the first installment of our long-running segment.
America at what? Crisis with Iran in Iraq. About Iran.
Now, cards on the table. I don't know if what Trump did was a good idea or a bad idea. But I do know that it's a big idea. And that Iran is very upset about it. On Friday, their supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, warned that harsh retaliation is waiting. Keep in mind, this is Iran's supreme leader, which I'm pretty sure means he comes with sour cream. But,
Oh, my goodness.
but,
Wow.
delicious. But Trump's not backing down here, tweeting, "Let this serve as a warning that if Iran strikes any Americans or American assets, we have ... targeted 52 Iranian sites representing the 52 American hostages taken by Iran many years ago." He's still mad about the Iranian hostage crisis? What's next on his 1980s agenda? I'm also targeting the top 4 Iranian generals, one for each of the 3 men and a baby. 6 different regions, one for each side of a Rubik's Cube, and I have officially changed the launch codes to 8675309. 8675309. I'm sorry. Sir, I interrupted you. You were threatening to bomb Iran 52 times? Some at a very high level and important to Iran and the Iranian culture. Okay, here's the deal. Bombing Iranian cultural sites could be a war crime. What do you mean, could be a war crime? What do I have to do around here? Kick the Sphinx? Urinate on a terracotta soldier? Because I've already done one of those things. And the other one. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
That's how it went
We're
wrong.
back. So someone in the White House had to go out there and try to clean up Trump's Twitter mess. Enter Secretary of State and vitamin D deficient Shrek, Mike Pompeo. Pompeo went on Sunday in the Tube with George and explained that Trump had not typed what he typed.
So just to be clear, when the president said he had 52 Iranian sites, including sites important to the Iranian culture, that wasn't accurate?
The American people should know that every target that we strike will be a lawful target.
Okay, so either one of them is lying, and they both are. Because when he was asked about it, Trump immediately said, "They're allowed to kill our people.
They're allowed to torture and maim our people. They're allowed to use roadside bombs and blow up our people, and we're not allowed to touch their cultural sites. It doesn't work that way.
That's a really strange use of the word allowed. Your Honor, Ted Bundy was allowed to murder over 30 people in the 1970s, and I can't stab one guy. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that
8675309.
Normally, when a president takes an action this big, this kind of military action that could lead to war, he preempts our stories and addresses the nation to reassure us. Trump did not do that this time. Instead, he tweeted this low-res image of an American flag. You know what they say? These colors don't run, but they do kind of blur. Also, presidents usually inform something called the Gang of Eight, which is the top Democrat and Republican in the House and Senate, as well as the chairs of the ranking members of each chamber's intelligence committees. But top Democratic leaders in Congress received no advance notification of the strike. Yeah, they didn't need to know, though, because they weren't staying at a Trump hotel. Apparently, days before the strike, Trump roamed the halls of Mar-a-Lago, telling friends that he was working on a big response to the Iranian regime that they would be hearing about very soon. Can you imagine checking into that hotel? Okay, here's your keys right there. The pool is on the left. There's a fitness center on 7. And if you make your way down to the courtyard, there's an old man giving away state secrets. Tip him. You want to tip him. Just tip him.
That's where we at, 2020.
So here's how it went down. Trump's advisors went to Mar-a-Lago, and military officials put the option of killing Soleimani, which they viewed as the most extreme response, on the menu they presented to President Trump. They didn't think he'd do it. They tacked on the choice of targeting General Soleimani to make other options seem reasonable. Okay, quick note to the generals. The only way Trump isn't going to order something on a menu is if it comes with vegetables.
Let's see here. What do we got? What do we got? Ooh. Oh, I gotta say, the killing the Soleimani looks tempting. Comes on a bed of spinach. Can you hold that? No, then I'll have the chicken fried sanctions.
Or, here's an even better idea. If you didn't want him to pick it, don't give it as an option. It's like your boyfriend saying, wait, why did you choose breakup? I only put that on there so you'd be more into the threesome idea. Which obviously is a joke. So, why did Trump choose what the Pentagon saw as the most extreme option? Well, Trump says he had no choice.
Last night, at my direction, the United States military successfully executed a flawless precision strike that killed the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world, Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel, but we caught him in the act and terminated him.
Okay, imminent attack. But the Pentagon said that the strike was carried out to deter future attacks. So what was the imminent threat? Eventual threats. It's like that old vaudeville routine, who's on first? Kill him. According... Kill who? Yes. According to officials who were briefed on the strike, the evidence about an imminent threat was razor thin. Okay, so a new dangerous conflict in the Middle East launched by the U.S. government on a murky premise with razor thin evidence. You know what that means? 2003 is back, baby. In 17 years, we've come full circle. From yellow cake to chocolate cake. From WMD to KFC. From shock and awe to shockingly awful. We've got a great show for you tonight. James Bond is here. But when we come back, exciting things in the world of tech.